will work wonders. When I can't find the words to say what I feel, what I discern. When the devil tries to persuade me, God will work wonders.
Banger, 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 gotta bang. We the ones that put them words that's scrolling out in outer space. You don't want a war with stars, we all a problem. We the gang that took over these coordinates, don't bring it our way.
Fire, fire, better retire. On the job, ain't no one higher. High up, see the hardest drivers. Galaxy fighters, alien siders. Out in the field, we left them signs in. This is seismic, broke that ground, that's why we signed up. Zodiac signs ain't no one buyer.
I'm a desperado, there will be no next to follow. Time I give them extra throttle, but I never need to flex it. Better when you exit, we shine like Apollo. And I got a whole list of accolades, I'm feeling like Milano. No rappers have gone the motto, ayy.
Fire, fire, burning all through my veins, aiming higher and higher. Enemies know my name.
Banger, 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 gotta bang. We the ones that put them words that's scrolling out in outer space. You don't want a war with stars, we all a problem. We the gang that took over these coordinates, don't bring it our way.
This that make them wanna bounce. Tag them, bag them, going dragon, racking up the body counts. Breathing fire on my rivals, melting every single rifle. Burning cities to the ground, most are dead upon arrival.
Going down must be your FICO, no, we're going at you like a hypo.
Halogenic, venomous viper, killing it sniper, in your vitals.
And echoing like a rhino, or etching them like a vinyl.
We unidentified flying in space force, you know the title. Ay.
Fire, fire, burning all through my veins, aiming higher and higher. Enemies know my name.
Banger, 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 gotta bang. We the ones that put them words that's scrolling out in outer space. You don't want a war with stars, we all a problem. We the gang that took over these coordinates, don't bring it our way.
Just give me.
Welcome to Plausible Foolishness. I am one of the two kings of the Rube Empire. I'm the Philosopher King, the Ivory Tower.
Oh, yeah, you are.
The Mad Scientist Matt. And with me, the Kick-Ass Duke.
That's right. Dusty's in the house. Kick-Ass Duke right here. You know what? I've got a perspective on a few things.
Me too.
Let's talk about it.
You're also the right hand of the kings. Let's not forget about that. It's important.
It does help that I am on your right hand, so that does work. So yeah.
Yes, you're on the right side of the screen. You're actually to my left hand in the way that we're facing. But whatever. How you been since yesterday?
Good. Good. People are crazy.
Yeah.
Things are crazy.
It's busy too.
Right?
I
People are
literally
complaining
just got
that-
home, walked in the door, said goodnight to the kids, and started getting ready for the podcast.
Yep. Yep. That's pretty much my day. Get home, eat. Good night. Let's do the show.
But it's fun doing it, and we're happy to be here. We're glad you guys are here watching us. The Rube Empire, always a sight for sore eyes, if you
Yes.
will. Even though we're on the internet and we can't see you. But let's get on with the topic for today.
Which one?
Well, I titled the episode, "Does the mandate even really exist? Are we being played?"
Well, no, it doesn't, because Florida doesn't adhere to his mandates.
Well, true.
If you're talking about Biden's
In terms of
mandates.
government entities, yeah. So, like, government entities in Florida can't enforce whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know, like county and local, whatevers. But, if OSHA comes into play, what is Florida going to be able to do? Except sue, maybe. I don't know. I mean, these are the questions.
Well, OSHA.
And then what private businesses do? What can Florida really do with that? Hard to say. But what were you going to say?
I was going to say, well, the thing about OSHA is there's only 10,000 employees in OSHA total, including inspectors. So unless they really, really expand OSHA into IRS kind of levels, there's not going to be a whole lot OSHA can do.
Oh, man.
They can make a rule about it.
That's
Doesn't mean that they
good
can
to hear.
enforce it.
That's good to hear because, we all know that this administration and administrations like it from before have really are resistant to the idea of expanding the scope and breadth of a government agency. So
yeah, well, that is very true. But they gotta get the money for it first. And so far,
you think 3.5 trillion might do it?
Possibly. I don't know. It all depends if it's Biden spending the money. If Biden's going to spend the money, then no, that's not going to do it, because none of that money's staying here.
Yeah.
But at least it's not going to cost us anything.
Ridiculous. All right, so this is
I mean, it's not going to cost them anything. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I meant to clarify that. It's not going to cost them anything. It's going to cost us $3.5 trillion, if not more.
Yeah. So this is an article.
Did you hear the gap, though?
What?
Speaking of that, the $3.5 trillion, the jobs numbers came out in regards to that, and what Biden said was it's going to grow jobs by 2 million jobs a year.
Okay, cool.
That's not accurate. What the report actually said was it would increase jobs over 10 years by 2 million.
Okay, so we get 2 million over 10 years.
Over 10 years. If things stay the way they are.
Miyagi has an interesting point. IRS and OSHA are both under the executive branch. The punishment is a fine, so wouldn't that fall under the IRS?
No. Because the IRS doesn't fine. OSHA fines.
Yeah, but who collects?
OSHA. When you get fined by OSHA, and you have to pay OSHA that fine.
Okay.
IRS does not collect that. Might go through IRS, but IRS doesn't collect it.
But it wouldn't be a far stretch for them to go, why don't we just have the IRS collect it?
Then you'd be waiting about 6 months for to collect your.
Sure.
OSHA would be waiting 6 months to collect that money. because it has to go and get processed and all that. No, and IRS doesn't like letting go of funds.
Yeah. Either way, it's an interesting question, but let's get on with the article. This is from the Federalist.
Oh, by the way. Sorry.
Flames on the side of my face.
Burning, hellfire.
Do you know that movie reference?
I know I've seen it somewhere. I don't remember it.
That's a quote from Madeline Kahn in Clue.
Yep.
Yes. Excellent movie. Yeah. Miyagi says, make the fine into a tax and collect as part of corporate tax. I mean, they did it with health insurance, didn't they? All right.
Yeah, they did.
So, the name of this article is Joe Biden's vaccine mandate doesn't exist. It's just a press release. And so far, that seems to be true. Yes, we've heard all about Joe Biden's alleged vaccine mandate for private companies employing 100 or more people. It was all over the news even before he announced it on September 9th. His announcement has jeopardized the employment of millions of Americans and increased worker shortages in critical domains such as healthcare. I mean, New York fired 1,400 healthcare workers. 1,400 in the middle of a pandemic. The worst pandemic this world has ever seen. All right?
And didn't more people die under Biden than Trump? Oh, did I say that out loud?
Yeah, I don't know the numbers, to be honest with you. But
approximately 320,000 died under Trump, and 382,000 have died under Biden.
Awesome. Trump was in office for a whole year.
Through the whole COVID numbers, which started in December,
right?
Was almost a year, year and 1 month.
Okay. All right. Interesting. And Biden's been in office for 9 months?
Good. A little bit over that, yeah.
Good.
But he's the man with the plan.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway,
part of the plan.
Critical domains such as healthcare. There's only one problem. It's all a mirage. Biden's so-called vaccine mandate doesn't exist, at least not yet. So far, all we have is his press conference and other such made-for-media huff-puffing. No such rule, even claiming to be legally binding, has been issued yet. That's why nearly 24 Republican attorneys general who have publicly voiced their opposition to the clearly unconstitutional and illegal mandate haven't yet filed suit against it. The Office of the Indiana Attorney General confirmed for me there is no mandate to haul into court, and that may be part of the plan. According to several sources, so far, it appears no such mandate has been sent to the White House's Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs yet for approval. The White House, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, and the Department of Labor haven't released any official guidance for the alleged mandate. There is no executive order. There's nothing but press statements. Despite what you may have been falsely led to believe by the media fantasy projection machine, that sounds like a Beatles album. Press statements have exactly zero legal authority. Oh, okay. Huh. How about that? There's nothing there yet that gives employers any mandate. Stephanie McFarland, spokeswoman for the Indiana Occupational Safety and Health Administration, told me October 6th. The president made an announcement on this asking OSHA to do it, but we've not yet seen anything come from it yet. She also said, when the state agency gets any further information, she said they'll review it. To impose the public perception of a mandate, the Biden administration is following an unusual rulemaking process it also employed earlier this year called an emergency temporary standard. The spring ETS rule took nearly 6 months to issue. Meanwhile, companies are telling reporters their vaccine mandates will have at the latest December deadlines. For those who can't calendar, That's 4 months after Biden's non-existent mandate was proclaimed. According to OSHA, an ETS takes up to 6 months to go into effect after the initial mandate is issued in the Federal Register, which again, for the proclaimed 100-employee mandate, hasn't happened yet. Lawyers for big business were blunt about their love for this mandate mirage. Everybody loves this cover. Minneapolis employment lawyer Kate Bischoff told Bloomberg Law in September, many were already looking down the road at doing this, but the fact that they get to blame Biden is like manna from heaven. Using the ETS procedure instead of normal federal rulemaking processes both allows the Biden administration to push its demands faster and without any public input or requirement of responding to public input, which is normally required of even legally laughable federal rulemaking like this one would be. That is part of why ETS rules have been overwhelmingly overturned in courts. OSHA has used that legal authority only 10 times in 50 years. David Rivkin Jr. and Robert Alt wrote in the Wall Street Journal in September. Courts have decided challenges to 6 of those standards, nixing 5 and upholding only 1. There are many other reasons why a federal vaccine mandate would be obviously illegal there are many other reasons any federal vaccine mandate would be obviously illegal and unconstitutional, Rivkin and Alt write, including that the states have plenary police power to regulate health and safety. Congress has only those limited powers enumerated in the Constitution via the 10th Amendment, which is almost wholeheartedly ignored completely by the federal government. That wouldn't include the authority to impose a $155 fine, today's equivalent of the $5 at stake in Jacobson. I guess that's a precedent, a legal precedent, a case from before, on an individual who declines to be vaccinated, much less to prevent him from earning a livelihood. But who needs the Constitution when you have an American people conditioned for compliance with even wildly outlandish things the screen people insist they must think and do? Earlier this week, the Wall Street Journal published a letter from Bruce Atkinson making several excellent observations about the non-existent mandate, including the following. The mandate's non-existence shields the Biden administration from legal challenges that may ultimately restrict OSHA's authority. Yet the mandate is still effective at compelling industries and companies into compliance, as it leaves room for any eventual issuance to target non-compliant entities. This implied cudgel is particularly effective on industries and companies that are dependent on federal spending or the goodwill of federal regulators. The non-existent mandate also allows so inclined state and local governments and companies to issue their own mandates, seemingly in lockstep with Washington. The Biden White House has been well served by presenting a non-existent mandate as a done deal. Now, let me see. What presidential administration does all this remind you of? Why, that of Mr. Pen and Phone himself, Barack Obama. And then it goes on. It's
I've got a pen.
Comparing.
Do it.
And it talks about how, neither it talks about how Republicans and Democrats are shadowboxing each other, but nobody's actually leading on this, which is true. And then this is the last paragraph. These people believe they are royalty. And too many Americans are acting like they're these losers, serfs instead of citizens endowed by God with inalienable rights, including the right to consent through elected representatives, not never elected dictatorial bureaucrats, to rules that restrict our rights, everyday lives, and human dignity. And I might argue that even elected representatives shouldn't. I mean, I question whether or not elected representatives is the way, But that's a whole other argument, not the topic of today's.
That's definitely something we can hash out at a later date because, yes.
Yeah.
I disagree with you on that one.
Well.
But that's why we have
this
such a great
This is
show.
democracy. I mean, even with elected representatives, it's still we're gonna get into a huge tangent.
That's why I said we can tackle it later.
Yeah, I gotcha, guy.
Later.
But you still had to throw your 2 cents in there. Of course, I threw my 2 cents in first. So
there you go.
but this is my show. I'm the king.
Yeah, well, I'm the kick-ass Duke.
Yeah. Dukes can get
you
beheaded.
Want to keep throwing titles around?
Dukes can get beheaded.
I'm the right hand of the king.
Dukes can get beheaded. Right hands can be replaced. Anyway, okay.
No, they can't.
Depends on what kind of hand we're talking about.
Exactly.
Okay, so to answer the question that I posed in the title of this episode, yes. Or well, the first question, no. The mandate does not exist.
No.
And yes, we are being played.
Yes.
We're being played, and it's really disgusting. But here's the thing. As businesses do this, right? As businesses start to comply, and they start firing people for not getting vaccinated, right? Without there actually being a mandate.
Yes.
Don't you have the right to sue? Like aren't you in a great position to sue their pants off? Like,
it's discrimination.
Really take them to the cleaners? Because
discrimination.
I mean, it's discrimination. It's not based on anything. It's not based on any law. So why are they doing it?
They have no legal ground to stand on.
Yeah. I mean, that would be my thought. I'm no legal expert, but you know.
And we're not financial experts, but buy Bitcoin.
Yeah. You know, but I would be thinking that if I was big business, I'd be thinking, until this is a mandate. I mean, so it said, the article says that they've been thinking about these corporations have been thinking about doing this already, right? And this just gives them something to point to, like if it's, you know, it's a scapegoat.
Correct, but it's not actually a scapegoat because there's nothing actually there.
That's what I would be thinking. Like maybe
it's a magician on stage reaching his hand into the hat and pulling out nothing. There should be a rabbit in there, but he's not pulling anything out.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And so, like, my thought is like, maybe this is a blessing in disguise. You know, it's going to hurt because you're out of a job, right?
Yeah.
And in the short term, that's going to be rough, especially if you have no preparation behind you. You know, you have nothing prepared to keep you going. It can get real rough. But on the same token, it might be a blessing in disguise because you might be really able to take these people to the cleaners, and in the large run, you know, we might be seeing a lot of these institutions that are clearly working against the American people. And I don't mean government. I mean these big business institutions that really they're not about service to the public, which is what capitalism is supposed to be, you know?
Right.
They're about service to their own wallets. They might be getting hit. They might be getting hit really hard, you know?
It's sad when, rather than looking at your business and what's best for your business, they're looking at what are my ideals and how can I make people conform to what I think is right.
Mm-hmm. Well, but like, there's also, on the other hand, of looking into what's best for your business, looking into what's actually right and wrong, you know?
Right. Exactly.
So, obvious. Nobody's saying that capitalism is perfect. It's just the best system that we have, you know?
It's immensely flawed, yet it's still less flawed than any other system out there. So,
and it wouldn't be flawed if man wasn't sinful. It wouldn't be flawed.
Okay, now we're going into something else. If you're going on pure theory, communism is probably one of the best systems out there.
Except that you're still stealing
on paper.
Except that you're still stealing, so it's not.
So socialism.
Yeah.
Still stealing.
At least in capitalism, it's two agents engaging in a consensual agreement.
Yes.
For the exchange of goods or services for something of value, you know?
Correct.
It's value. Just bartering taken to kind of the next level, right?
The next logical step, yeah, I would agree with that.
So, the problem is that man is sinful and greedy, and so the idea of a business that runs well is one that is about serving its customers well, you know? But there's a lot of companies that don't care about serving their customers, or their customers are not who they seem to be, like Robinhood, you know, that app and everything. Like if you, or Google, you know, if you're getting the services for free, you are not the customer. You are the product. No. Their customers lie elsewhere, you know? And that's something that we didn't really know. We just thought it was amazing that Google had this amazing search engine, and then eventually this amazing email system, and then eventually all these amazing products for free. It was great. Oh, and they're kind of selling our data. Okay, well, I don't really know what that means exactly. Oh, now we're starting to understand, you know, not even starting. Now we're well into understanding what that means. And it means that you've never been their customer. You know? So, Facebook, you've never been their customer if you're getting all this for free. Their customers are other businesses that they can sell your data to, you know, and so on and so forth. And like, to me, Robinhood is the most egregious because they're offering you a way into the market, you know, into the stock market for free, you know, no commissions and all that stuff. And it's like, okay, cool, awesome. But meanwhile, the data that they're, what's that?
Robinhood's idea was, okay, for the novice people, you can go in, buy some stock, make some trades, make a little bit of money in the stock market.
Yep,
you know,
and not have to pay fees and commissions like you would to a broker. But meanwhile, the data that they're collecting from you goes to these giant hedge funds and whatnot.
Yep.
You know, they sell it to those hedge funds, and then with that data, those hedge funds have information on how the market is going to go. And so by using them, you're actually hurting your ability to make money and increasing the hedge fund's ability to make money.
Correct.
And it's so sickening. It's so gross.
Buy GameStop stock.
Yeah. Yeah. Or buy Bitcoin, not a financial advisor.
We are not financial advisors.
Deep State says, the Squid Game is not real. It could not possibly happen. It's just a movie. Actually, it's a series, I believe. So
yes.
It's the one time that Deep State got it wrong, I guess.
Did he, though? He is Deep State.
Yeah, I guess no. I mean, if I want to stay alive. Very accurate, Deep State. 100%. But yeah, so like, what do you think? Do you think that this is a blessing in disguise, perhaps?
Okay.
He responds, it's 9 episodes of Netflix fantasy. Absolutely right.
So I'm a bit mixed on this one. Is it good that it's not actually real? Yes.
Yes.
Is it bad that it's not actually real? Yes.
Well, it's bad that they're so unscrupulous, and the businesses are so ready to do this
throw
already.
People under the bus.
Which is like, why? Gross.
Because it's a pandemic of the uninfected.
Or
you remember that?
The unvaccinated.
Or the unvaccinated, yes.
Just complete garbage.
Which is complete and total
none
fallacy.
Of the data follows that
logic. None of it. So same thing with...
We are not medical advisors. All right? We're not commenting, make your own choices, go see your doctor, blah, blah, blah.
I'm actually for people getting vaccinated. Hey, I'm all for it. If you feel like you need it and it will benefit you, or if you're at high risk, go for it. Caveat to that. It should never be mandated. It should always be your choice.
100%.
So, could you sue your employer for wrongful termination? Yes, most definitely. Will you see any money for it?
I think there's a pretty good chance, but again, not a legal expert, so I don't know for sure.
It all depends on the judge. I've been actually deep diving into a lot of legal stuff on YouTube, and the law literally depends on which judge you're sitting in front of.
And that's true, which is a big flaw in the judicial system.
Correct. The law should be equal across the board, not determined by what the political beliefs of that judge is.
Yeah, but how do you get away with it? How do you make that happen?
Make what happen?
We're dealing with humans.
Oversight, being able to look at caseloads and go, hey, judge, why did you convict these 5 guys for the exact same thing, all exactly the same, and this guy separately?
But then that's just kicking the can down the road, and all they have to do is install people who think like they do in the oversight roles,
And guess what? They did.
That's where the question of authority becomes most apparent to me. It's like, why? Like, maybe we should just not be giving people this kind of authority at all.
How do we adjudicate then? If we have a dispute, how do we adjudicate? Are we going to go back to, all right, 10 paces that way, 10 paces that way, turn, and...
might do us a lot of good.
Are we going to go to arm wrestling? Because if so, Ray's going to win every single time.
I don't know the answer to that, honestly. Maybe some kind of arbitration between parties. I really don't know.
What do you think? Okay. Adjudication is arbitration.
In like lawsuit. Okay, yeah. For lawsuits.
Yeah.
Except arbitration, adjudication has the effect of lawmaking in some ways,
Okay. Yes.
Whereas arbitration would be outside of the judicial system, and thus be just binding between the parties, and that's as far as it goes, Okay. Deep State goes on to comment about Squid Game. Billionaires do not have private games. They don't have private islands. And so we know that to be
fund people for sport.
Yeah, and or perform rituals, or I don't know.
Or do stuff with
spitball and like orgies or something, on private islands. That never happens.
Are you talking about one guy that didn't kill himself, Epstein?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still. Yeah. Okay. Yep. No, he didn't kill himself.
No, definitely didn't. Um,
But getting back to what I was saying,
yeah.
You can sue these companies for wrongful termination. Whether or not you win, who knows? Say you do win. Say you win big. You're still not going to ever see that money in 5, 10, 15 years. Probably won't see it because it'll be appellate courts. It'll be this, that, whatever. Say you
Well,
go through all of
or
that
you, or you,
and you end up winning.
or you get them to. I mean, most likely what would happen though is that they would try to settle it out of court, and you would walk
Yeah.
away with something.
That would be actually the fastest and most judicious way of that happening. If you actually go through the courts, you're looking about 7 to 10 years before you ever see a penny.
Yeah.
And by that time, is it that big of a deal?
Well, I mean, depends on how much money it is.
True.
I could work
Granted.
for. I could pull a Jacob and work for 7 years for $20 million. You know.
Yeah.
And then Laban's like, it's not the 20 million you asked for. And it's like, okay, well, I'll work another 7 years for the other 20 million. Bible references. Anyway, but you were saying you mentioned how it depends on the judge that
Yes.
that you're seeing. It also depends on if a lawyer will even take the case.
Yes.
Now, which reminds me of Kyle Rittenhouse. You know, the guy from Wisconsin who defended himself from criminals who were trying to beat him up with a skateboard and other things. Shot them and then ended up going to jail. And my understanding is that there's still no lawyer that will take his case.
Wow. They just don't want to touch it?
I guess not. Meanwhile, you have this other dude, and his bail was set for like, I might be wrong on this number, but I know it was in the millions, but I think it was like $7 million.
Holy cow.
And then you've got this.
Seriously?
Maybe it was definitely in the millions. It might be 2 million or 7 million. I can't remember. Exactly. But I know, I'm almost positive it was in the millions. And then you had this other kid, the kid from Texas who tried to kill people at his school.
Yeah.
And his bail was set to like 700,000. And he walks out, like 2 days later.
Bail is set on essentially what they think you're worth.
Yeah.
It's
ridiculous.
It is. It's silly. And I will say this, bail bonds are the modern equivalent to slavery. Because that's actually one of the few holdovers from that that still exists in our society.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I know some people on the left have said the same thing. Doesn't make it wrong.
Well,
it is true. But like thinking about Kyle Rittenhouse, if what they're saying is true, that there's still no legal counsel that is willing. I mean, I guess there's you always have the state appointed one, and in a case as volatile as that, that's going to be great for Kyle.
Yeah.
But thinking that I'm like, what cowards we have in this day and age. Because I remember hearing a story about, I think it was John Adams, where I think the war had already started. Like the shot heard, it might have even been the soldiers involved in the shot heard round the world, right?
Okay.
So that was the like Crispus Attucks gets shot.
Yeah.
And basically it starts the revolution, right?
it's one of the catalysts that started the war.
Like they were already, tensions were already high. That kind of just broke the dam, right?
Yeah, because we had already established the Continental Congress.
Mm-hmm.
We had already sent our demands to England. England then sent more troops over, and there had already been skirmishes prior to this. This was the first time that it blew up, where people actually revolted, where it wasn't just, okay, there's a skirmish and all right, it's died down now.
But but in reality,
blew up.
My understanding is that the soldiers overreacted or whatever.
Yes, they did.
Well, and I might be butchering this, but I'm thinking it was that incident, and the soldiers who started it got captured, and they were going to be tried, you know, but I don't know if it was nobody would represent them, or they were denying representation to them. And John Adams got in there and was like, no, they have to have legal representation, and I will represent them. And he ended up fighting in court on behalf of British soldiers. I don't know if it was specifically that incident. I can't remember perfectly. But there was an incident.
There was an incident, and it was 4 guys who killed a colonist, and they were going to be hanged by essentially a mob. And John Adams was able to get in there, get the sheriffs in there, and he was able to try it, and they did eventually hang.
Well, and he represented them.
Correct, he did.
So I mean, what balls this guy's got, and what principles and convictions, and we got none of that for this kid who clearly was defending himself against a mob of lunatics.
There's a lot more to that if you've seen the full video of his interactions.
It was the Boston Massacre, Miyagi said.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Is what he did right? Yes. Should he have been there? No. Was he legally able to carry that firearm? No. So there's a lot of gray and wrong in a lot of ways.
Should there have been riots?
No.
Unprevented riots in the city?
No.
So then I think all that other gray can go cram it with walnuts.
Until there's a trial, unfortunately, a lot of this won't come out for the details. And
my understanding is that
he
legally owned the firearm. He didn't live in Wisconsin. He came from wherever to be with his friends at his friend's store to help defend it from these looters.
Correct.
Right. And then ended up in that situation.
Correct.
And so, like, Wisconsin has their own rules, and when you cross state lines, blah blah blah. But that's
you have to conform to the state.
I mean, you
rules.
do,
and
you do.
Trust me, you do not want me to get into reciprocity laws, because, dear Lord, I will talk your ear off.
Yeah.
All night long.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. We
don't have a show long enough for that.
Like,
even when we were doing 2-hour shows.
This is bogus garbage that we have to deal with in this, anti-2A world that country that we live in, despite despite the word shall not be infringed, or we're having to deal with an entity called OSHA at all in a world where in a country where the 10th Amendment exists. Sorry, the executive branch does not have any right to determine occupational safety and health.
Shouldn't.
I'm sorry, they don't. Now your state can.
Yes.
or your city can. You know, and that's determined by your state's constitution.
Thank you. You said it.
But you know, the executive branch, Biden shouldn't even have a bureau, an agency
Czar.
to even pretend to make a mandate to enforce. You know, all of these alphabet agencies should not exist. There should be no Department of Education, EPA, whatever, you name it, IRS, all that crap. None of it should exist because none of it. I know the federal government does have the right to tax, so maybe we can argue about the IRS, though I still think it shouldn't exist. But
I still don't think it should exist in the form that it does.
For sure. But if it's not with the 10th Amendment, if it is not expressly enumerated in the Constitution as being a federal power, the federal government has no power.
Yeah.
The flames, they're back on the side of my face. And I just smacked my microphone. I apologize. It drives me nuts, but this is the world we live in, and it's freaking frustrating.
This is the America we live in.
Like, and we need to be teaching our kids this.
Right?
Our kids at age 10 should be as frustrated as we are. Because
okay, I didn't even get into a lot of this stuff.
Like, I wasn't an adult. I was an adult until I learned that. I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt. I was an adult when I learned that. You know, I shouldn't have been an adult when I learned that. We should, and this is why they made a Department of Education, so that they could plan out how better to not educate us about how our own government works.
Reading, writing, and arithmetic. What do you mean you want to know how the government works? That's not, no, you don't need that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, we need to start teaching our kids the Constitution and what it actually says, and then what it means, and then what the history behind it means. Because unless we do that, whatever they learn in school, which, do you really trust your school system to teach them this stuff and to teach it accurately? I was in my 40s when I first started diving in, or 30s when I first started diving into this, and it astonishes me how little I knew and how much I thought I knew. Me now, there's so much I don't know, and so much I want to know. And so much of my life wasted not knowing it when I could have been knowing it.
Exactly.
Or at least learning it.
Exactly.
So that's my final thought.
Yeah. And maybe we should teach our kids to question whether there should be a government at all. And on that note, you've been watching Plausible Foolishness, home of the Rube Empire, where the people are free. The taxes are voluntary because otherwise it would be theft.
Correct.
It would be theft by force.
Yes.
And we, your humble public servants, serve freshly roasted liberal logic every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 9:30 right here on twitch.tv/plausiblepoolishness, YouTube, Facebook Live, anywhere you can get a podcast, Rumble, Instagram, and minds.com. And if you like what you see here,
please like it
on whatever platform. Write a review, leave a comment, share, subscribe, do all the things that help channels grow.
Sharing is caring.
If you could. And if you want to support us, there's a link on the YouTube description, in the About page on Twitch, that you can donate to us, and this helps us upgrade our equipment and helps us, get the word out and grow the show.
And if anybody's out there and they're watching YouTube or Facebook, go ahead and comment into the comments if there's a topic you want us to cover. If there's something that you guys want to talk about, comment down below, and we'll cover it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about it. We'll do a deep dive into one of those subjects. So comment down below.
Or at least we'll try.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of resources. Give us some ideas. We'd love to hear from you guys.
That's all true. So again, thank you for watching. We appreciate you. We love you, Rubes. Peace out.
Catch me walking through your hood just like I'm Kimberly Classic. It's time to face it. We fighting now for the next generation. Stop being basic. We at war, battle for all creation. The truth can align with any lie, no matter how you would place it. The son of man's like scatter flock. The kids, people like pass a lot. Who preach the truth with no mask and not spread fear and hate for an aftershock. Millions lost cause the faith is shook. The pandemic threw a major hook. Just like the punch that Nader took. The sound alone is what made you look. For a place you can run to. Safe from devils that will hunt you. Say you're not ready, but he's on you. So please shine bright like the sun do. Ooh. Wondering why many churches are closed. Illiterate policies going unopposed. Stand up in faith and abandon he goes. On progress I'm working, but he already knows.
I can't find the words to say what I feel, what I discern. When the devil tries to persuade me, God will work wonders. When I can't find the words to say what I feel, what I discern. When the devil tries to persuade me, God will work wonders.
Yeah, here come that devil again. Must be a lib always meddling. He knows I ain't gon' let him in. I ain't a beta male, I ain't feminine. I got the medicine, I don't play. I ain't better than I won't sway. I lack melanin, I'm an elephant. I'ma tell the truth and no shame. Y'all think I'ma just fold. I'ma fight the fight, I won't roll. I'ma light the light and my light is bright, cause I know that I'm not alone. I'm in my zone, he's on the throne. I'm not confused, he's on my dome. I ain't no rat, ain't no Democrat. I am a god, he never will cap, okay? Mask off and stop fearing. Grab a job and move your rear end. Take a look at my past, I was freaking. In fact, got my foot on the gas and he's steering. Whoa. Now when the devil talking, please don't run. Snatch that coward by the throat and tell him I'm with the sun. He'll leave you alone for a little, but he coming for you. Just put your faith in him, cause God could work wonders for you, okay?
And I can't find the words to say what I feel, what I discern. When the devil tries to persuade me, God will work wonders. When I can't find the words to say what I feel, what I discern. When the devil tries to persuade me, God will work wonders.
Yeah. He's working wonders now. No wonder it's working out. Previously tongue-tied when it comes time to speak up for what I deserve. Back when I couldn't find the words. In this life I learned if I observe, then I'll discern the lies they hide behind the curtains. In the circus to define the word that's in verse where I find the courage. And when I am heard, I'll be sure that my pride is earned. Picture Reese sitting in a scene where he didn't speak. Everybody looking at him like kid's a freak. Literally paralyzed by history. Perpetuated in defeat, but it in retreat. See, he turned his weakness to his Herculean words served to ensure his freedom. And the shackles that bound him converted in purpose. A perch down beneath him observing the beacon. Picture me spitting this flow to the masses. For I'd have thrown up this globe is drastic. We put our soul in this, but never sold for this. Trevor and Topher, no holding us captive. Devil's been known to control us with tactics. Motives exposing and focus the faction. We put our soul in this, but never sold for this. Trevor and Topher, you know it's a classic.
And I can't find the words to say what I feel, what I discern. When the devil tries to persuade me, God will work wonders. When I can't find the words to say what I feel, what I discern. When the devil tries to persuade me, God will work wonders.
Banger, 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 gotta bang. We the ones that put them words that's scrolling out in outer space. You don't want a war with stars, we all a problem. We the gang that took over these coordinates, don't bring it our way.
Fire, fire, better retire. On the job, ain't no one higher. High up, see the hardest drivers. Galaxy fighters, alien siders. Out in the field, we left them signs. This is seismic, broke that ground, that's why we signed up. Zodiac signs ain't no one brighter.
I'm a desperado, there will be no next to follow. Time I give 'em extra throttle, but I never need to flex it. Better when you exit, we shine like Apollo. And I gotta hold this to accolades, I'm feeling like Milano. No rappers have gone the motto, ayy.
Fire, fire, burning all through my veins, aiming higher and higher. Enemies know my name. Banger, 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 gotta bang. We the ones that put them words that's scrolling out in outer space. You don't want a war with stars, we all a problem. We the gang that took over these coordinates, don't bring it our way.
This that make them wanna bounce. Tag them, bag them, going dragging, racking up the body counts. Breathing fire on my rivals, melting every single rifle. Burning cities to the ground, most are dead upon arrival.
Going down must be your FICO, no, we're going at you like a hypo.
Allergenic, venomous viper, killing it sniper, in your vitals.
And echoing like a rhino, or etching them like a vinyl.
We unidentified flying in Space Force, you know the title. Ay. Fire, fire, burning all through my veins, aiming higher and higher. Enemies know my name. Banger, 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 gotta bang. We the ones that put them words that's scrolling out in outer space. You don't want a war with stars, we all a problem. We the gang that took over these coordinates, don't bring it our way.
Just give me 30 seconds, man.
This that make them wanna bounce. Tag them, bag them, going dragging, racking up the body counts. Breathing fire on my rivals, melting every single rifle. Burning cities to the ground. Most of this that make them wanna bounce. Tag them, bag them, going dragging, racking up the body counts. Breathing fire on my rivals, melting every single rifle. Burning cities to the ground, most are dead upon arrival.
They gon' hate me for this one. Hashtag facts are racist. R.I.P. mom, you the greatest. Raised up a king and they hate it. Everyone mind about races when they're not the biggest problem we facing. Take a real look at the nation. Sick of motherhood inflation. Whipping your boys, I saw jumping a lady. She only 15, left her bloody and shaking. They wasn't wearing no rags. Nobody waving no flags. You ain't even gotta ask. It's black on black on black on blacks. Everybody wanna play victim. Blame everything on the system. Be a sad day when it hit them. Life could've been different if you would've listened to the information that we spit. Take it, keep it, chew it for a bit. Hold your head up, brother, never quit. Self-accountability, that's it. That'll get you all to the top. Then you really ball till you drop. Economic growth, man, I'm here to stir the pot. Say you wanna hear the truth, so I put it in a beat. Changing the culture every day of the week. Right now it's more like a vulture. Only prey on the weak, but we are here to exposure. Going down as I speak. No excuses, can't refuse this honesty that we seek. Y'all be like, facts are racist. Why I say this? You know it's true. Y'all just hate it.